What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics. And today we got a reaction to the Avett brothers and their top 10 live performances, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, Richard. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below or the patron link on the end screen. We could not do it without the patrons. All right. We did an Avett Brothers Top 10 almost 2 years ago, but it was just songs, right? So now we're going to go to the live stuff. If you don't know anything about them, they're an American folk rock band from Concord, North Carolina. They're made up of two brothers, which you would think, but you never know with the way bands are named, Thompson twins and stuff. Scott Avett on banjo, lead vocals, guitar, piano, and kick drum, and Seth Avett on guitar, lead vocals, piano, and hi-hat, along with Bob Crawford on double bass, electric bass, violin, backing vocals, and Joe Kwan on cello and backing vocals. They were formed following on from Seth and Scott's former band Nemo. They combined bluegrass, country, punk, pop melodies, folk, rock and roll, indie rock, honky-tonk, and ragtime to produce a novel sound described by the San Francisco Chronicle as having, quote, the heavy sadness of Townes Van Zandt, the light pop concision of Buddy Holly, the tuneful jangle of the Beatles, and the raw energy of the Ramones. That's a heck of a description to put on anybody. If you've never been on this before, the music won't be in the video and you want to see this because they're live performances, right? But it will be at the Vimeo link below. Now I got the Vimeo sign up there. It's just to let you know, go to the Vimeo link below. You can watch the whole reaction. All right, let's jump into it. And you see it below. You're going to see the Spotify bar on every song, just so you know what song I'm talking about, but we're watching videos. We got Down with the Shine from the Carpenter album in 2012. I will check out the lyrics after the song. I usually say I have the lyrics up as always, but it's not the case in live performances. Thanks again, Richard. All right, Down with the Shine. Talking about moonshine, but it's more about life, moving through life, right? But I've never seen, like, Scott's playing the banjo and on the main lead vocals here. And, you know, I talked about he played the kick drum, but I've never seen somebody standing there playing an instrument, lead singing, and playing a kick drum at the same time, let alone a banjo. Really good song, really good harmony, visually nice. It's a rooftop concert. You know, there's one other famous rooftop concert that we could talk about, but we won't here. But, you know, just really well done. The guy in the upright bass is in a blazer, just like the striking differences and, you know, appearances, and just really well done. Next up, we have Famous Flower of Manhattan off of Four Thieves Gone, the Robbinsville Sessions in 2006. All right, Famous Flower of Manhattan. It was just shot on a retreat in North Carolina by a guy on, you know, obviously on a singular device. It was quite interesting for several reasons. One, you never really see a banjo isolated on just a vocal and a banjo. So I thought that was really good. You know, to Scott, obviously. It's tough sometimes on the vocals. You couldn't quite hear him all the time because the reason why you don't hear this isolated much, number one, we vocalists don't usually play the banjo. But number two, the banjo is much more piercing than, let's say, an acoustic guitar. But it was worth it for the price of admission to see the absolute sublime banjo playing. Like, you don't see that, the precision. It was really good, really fantastic, raw. And when you shoot something raw like that, you understand how much talent the artist has. And Scott has a lot of talent because you're not editing that. You're not messing with that. You're not getting any help from anything. It's cool. Next up, we got As Good As I Once Was. You see below, it's a Toby Keith song. There's not a Spotify version of it by the Avett Brothers, so you're going to see just the Toby Keith name there. It was shot at Austin City Limits, fantastic show and venue that's been on forever and ever here in the U.S. In January of 2025, Toby passed away last year, so I'm assuming, you know, they kind of shot this as a tribute to him. All right, As Good As I Once Was. A few observations, right? This is almost 20 years later from the previous video that Scott was in. The boys have aged well. They've aged very well. Same double bass player, Bob Crawford, that was in the Rooftop, which was 2012, which tells you a few things. When an artist has backing musicians who stay with them forever, it tells you the artists are pretty good guys. I mean, usually, right? Or they're not going to hang around, but they sounded fantastic. That's a good song. I didn't know that song. I know some Toby Keith stuff, but I didn't know that song. It's a really good song, but man, boys were having fun. Sounded fantastic. That one was really fun. Next up off the Carpenter album in 2012, we have February 7. All right, another one from that Billboard Rooftop Concert, Tastemakers. Very, very well done song. And Bob Crawford's done his best Superman impression, Clark Kent, and changed from the blazer and the double bass to a regular bass and just a regular shirt. So I thought that was kind of cool to see the guys, but they sound fantastic. They sound fantastic. Really nice song as well. All right, next up from the True Sadness album in 2016, we got No Hard Feelings. Wow, what a song. Like the songwriting on that is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it has been on all these songs. This song was fantastic. The performance was sublime. It was from 2017, so we're getting to see all kinds of things. We saw Scott in 2016. We saw Scott in all of them in 2012, but 2017, 2025. Now Seth was on lead vocals on this one. This is the first one we've seen that, but everybody was just spot on. Man, that sounded good. As we get to the top half of the list, we got Victory from the Third Gleam in 2020, an EP. All right, another song with a lot of spiritual overtones to it. I'm a Christian, so I'm down for it. If you're not, you can just enjoy the song. I get it. A really good performance that Richard picked here, because it's interesting, right? They're just sitting in this unfinished room. Unfinished as in there's this plywood on the walls and 2x4, so you don't have insulation absorbing through, sheetrock. The sounds, the floor is bare, so it has a fantastic sound to it. The acoustics are great choice, and really just pulls you in. Their harmonies are just sublime, man. And Scott was playing an acoustic guitar instead of a banjo for the first time. All right, let's go to number 4. Now, the last song was off the Third Gleam. This is just off the Gleam in 2006 EP. If It's the Beaches. All right, If It's the Beaches. Songs from 2006. Performance is from 2013 in Sweden. So just want to clarify that. Seth with some fantastic, intricate acoustic work on here. Really focused on that for in the middle of the song and at the end. And that's not something we've seen a ton here. I mean, the instrumentation is right on point, but they really made this a focal point here. But great song again, great performance. Fan cam. So Richard's incorporated all different kinds of performance in here, which I think is fantastic. It shows you how versatile the Avett brothers are and how genuine they are, because there's no trickery in any of this stuff. All right, up to the top 3, we got Clay Pigeons. It's a cover of a Blaze Foley, who you're going to see below on the Spotify, because there's not an Avett Brothers Spotify version of it. More famous, though, for the great John Prine's cover. This was also put up in 2013, and we had Scott on the acoustic again. But, because he plays with a finger-picking style, you kind of get a mix between an acoustic and a banjo almost, with the noise that comes out of it. And as always, Seth, fantastic on the harmonizing. I prefer Scott's voice just a little bit more, but Seth's voice is really good too. But there's a nice contrast in their voice that gives them that great tone when they harmonize. So fantastic performance. All right, next up at number 2, we got Morning Song off the Magpie and the Dandelion album in 2013. And this performance is actually from 2013. It's backstage at the Newport Folk Festival, which, if you're familiar with that, or if you've seen the movie A Complete Unknown, you're going to be very familiar with the Newport Folk Festival. We're backstage here, just banging this out. All right, a really cool song. Really, really well done for several reasons. Got a central mic in the middle of the floor, which Scott's a little closer than Seth. So when Seth sings, he's having to pipe it in a little more and the instrumentation dies down. So you can still hear him fine. But the complexity of the harmonies, obviously Scott and Seth are harmonizing at times. But then, there's a 30-second span towards the end where, of course, you got Bob Crawford in there on double bass again. So Bob and Scott are doing that part of the harmony, and then it switches to Seth and Joe Kwan, who's been in several of these, playing the cello. They're doing the other part, and they go back and forth. And at the very end, it goes back to Seth and Scott. Very complex to play out in real life. Just fantastic performance. And finally, drum roll. Number 1, Murder in the City from the second Gleam EP in 2008. First time we've had something from that. Let's get it. All right, the performance from 2017. We already saw another song from this performance earlier on in the list. The song itself is fantastic. Murder in the City. He's basically saying he gets murdered in the city, telling everybody, don't worry about my belongings, but the list to let everybody know that I love him, and nothing like the love that the nature of that causes us to share our name. And don't worry, don't avenge me because I'm coming home. He's going to heaven. Just a fantastic song. And I don't know, was that an electric mandolin? I've never seen an electric mandolin. It sure sounded like one. I don't know, but great stuff. Right, now we'll get to my favorite tracks. Now, I realized, I said this earlier, maybe I heard these in the top 10. I don't know why. I did not remember doing this top 10. And usually I remember, I always remember. I got 3,300 videos up. I still remember. There's very few videos, and those are usually song reactions that I did years ago that I'm like, I don't remember reacting to that, from an obscure artist or something. I look back now, Trey is the one that reacted to the Avett brothers. So no wonder, man, because I'm like, these guys are great. I love these guys. Why did they not hit with me more? And I started to go and listen to them. Because Richard has a knack for bringing some people to me, Band of Horses being one of them, that I go back and listen to. Because I don't always do that, guys. I just don't have time. But this is going to be one of them. They're fantastic. I didn't do a very good job of narrowing down my favorite tracks. It's just the way it is. I mean, Down with the Shine, the first one from the rooftop concert. As good as I once was, the one from Austin City Limits in 2025, that song, the Toby Keith cover, was fantastic. No Hard Feelings, Victory, where they were in the empty room, the acoustic room. If It's the Beaches from that in Sweden, the fan cam. Morning Song with the single mic. They were backstage at the Newport Folk Festival. And this last song, Murder in the City. So 7 to the 10, and I like the other 3 too. I just thought it'd be ridiculous if I said all of them. It's probably ridiculous that I said 7 of them. But thank you to Richard for bringing this one. Let me know what you think of this down below. Give me your favorite performances. It took a lot to put this together. I promise you, go through all these live performances. Very impressive. If you haven't already, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. And until next time, guys, I will see you.